Hello, my name is Alexia and I'm the creator of Love You More Mag. Recently I posted one of those little Q&A boxes on Instagram and asked my followers on my magazine account to ask me a few questions about the process of creating a magazine from the ground up. And right now I'm going to get into answering a few of those questions, and then I'm going to elaborate more on just other questions I've gotten littered into my DMs over time. A little background on my magazine: I have created 3 issues so far, and the first one was 30 pages, I believe, and it was purely digital, and the last 2 were digital and in print. So I'm going to be talking a bit more about the process of creating both digital and print magazines throughout this video. I actually got this question a few times, and it was advice for finding inspiration for each issue or just in general. And my answer to that is you could really take 2 routes, and I've taken them both. And the first one is to completely unplug, just take a walk, spend a day offline, take photos of different things, sit in your room, collage different things. I love just putting on some music, sitting down with paper and pictures and just seeing what comes out. And I think that's a really good way to just kind of spitball ideas and see what is naturally compelling to you. Another totally digital way of finding inspiration is taking advantage of social media. Personally, I think that Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr are all great resources for finding the type of photos that you're interested in and creating mood boards with them, or modeling photos that you take after them. Obviously not copying anything, but just creating a blueprint for yourself by finding out what aesthetics you like, what type of clothing you like, just finding a bunch of inspiration through explore feeds. The next question I got was how to grow a platform. Now, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, first of all, you should. Second of all, I don't really think that I'm doing crazy well on any platform where it's even a question of what my recipe was, because I think there's a lot of other magazines that are around the same idea as mine or around the same content as mine that are doing way better and they're more established. So I guess the best way to grow your platform is be consistent and stick with it. I usually, in followers that I get, I notice a lot of magazines that have just started out, and they always talk about their first issue and they hype it up, and then they don't post again for 4 months, and it's that type of thing where it's don't bite off more than you can chew, and slowly and steadily build your magazine content so that there is something to follow. And recently I've been working more towards creating and posting content that I would follow on my Instagram, creating photos and videos that I just would get inspired from naturally. And luckily I have a friend helping me create Instagram posts, and I think it's always good to get a fresh pair of eyes on things. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed, don't be scared to reach out to your creative friends. Maybe they'd have a lot of fun with joining you in the project of creating a magazine. So shout out Rachel Steinberg for helping me with my Instagram, because that's how I've been growing my platform. The next question I got was, how do I plan out my magazines? I don't. I have a few things that I've carried since my first digital magazine all the way to how I still do my magazines. And I guess I'll just say those. I usually create a color pattern throughout my magazines to try to, create any sort of balance. I will only do a certain amount of pages in a color because I don't want it to be too overwhelming, and then I'll create a color order where the pages will slowly fade into each other. Another good way to plan things out is I email myself basically everything I include in my magazine. If there's any photos or interviews, I be sure to email them to myself, and then I go into my email and I star them, and as I create the pages I go and I unstar them just to tell myself that they're done, it's complete, and I try to create a checklist of pages that I want to create. For example, for my upcoming issue, I wanted to create like chapter title pages along with playlist pages, and I went through and I like checked off every single time I got one done just so I could feel like I'm moving forward, and also just to keep everything in order and see what I'm missing still. This kind of segues perfectly into a question I get a lot of times in my DMs, which is what platform do I use to create my magazines and how exactly do I publish them, which is just a question that is so hard to answer from looking at magazine Instagrams. I feel like a lot of people feel protective of how they are creating things, but I think that there is a lot of value in transparency, and I want to see what other people can come up with. So if I can help at all, I think it's right too. So what I currently am using to create my physical PDF copies of my magazine is just Google Sites. That and Procreate, which I use to create transparent background clip art to put on pages, and also to draw certain things or handwrite. That and Google Slides is all I use. I just changed the page setup of Google Slides to be 8.5 by 11.5, and then it's a perfect page size, and then I export that as a PDF when I want to upload it to a printing service to get it delivered to me. And as for what printing service I use, the most recent magazine I did, I used Mixam, Mixam, and I had a pretty good experience with it. It was one of the like more inexpensive companies that I've used. I had a really good experience with Printing Center USA as well. They were just a little more pricey, and I don't mind saying how much it costs to produce my magazine, because I know that when I'm charging money for them, I really am genuinely making the cost as low as I possibly can. So my most recent edition cost $20 plus shipping, and per each magazine I think it cost $14 including shipping to get it to me, and then I also had $6 worth of extra things included in the magazine. And my magazine before that, which I did with Printing Center USA, each magazine cost like $20, which I was like, what? Because it had less pages than my most recent one, which had like 80 pages, so Mixam was pretty good for that. Another thing I'd recommend is getting perfect binding when you get your magazine, because I just think it looks more professional, and I like the look of a flat magazine rather than one with staples in the middle, but you know, different strokes for different folks, so do whatever you gotta do. My next question from my Instagram is, have you always wanted to start a magazine / inspiration for starting? Personally, I have not always wanted to start a magazine. I'm the type of person who does things as soon as I want to do them. So as soon as I wanted to start a magazine, I did, and never looked back. No, I haven't regretted it. It's been such a great thing for me personally, and it's been so awesome and fulfilling. But really what I care about is kind of developing my own taste and skill in every department I possibly can. So in pursuit of being, a jack of all trades, I figured that figuring out how to print, do page layout, and creating a website, just interviewing people, just professionally emailing people, and marketing, I don't know, all of these little things that I've had no experience with outside of this, it's been a really cool thing for me to take seriously, and I think it has served me really well, and it's been such a good thing to, you know, keep me creative and tie me to time. It's been really nice, especially during quarantine, because it helps me mark each month. It kind of reminds me, because I shoot a couple rolls of film for each magazine as well. So it's nice when I can look back and be like, oh, this is my July issue. I remember this month, and these are the photos from that month. It helps me organize time, which I don't know if anybody cares about that, but yeah. And inspiration for starting, honestly, if you want to, just do it. Just do it. Like, that's really, I know it's so corny and everybody says it, but like, it's the only way you'll ever know if you're good at it is if you do it and if you give it your all. And I think it's really fun, regardless. I've actually been playing around with some other creative project ideas, and I kind of have to apply that to them too. Just go out and get them. Do your best. I think creatives each have something unique to contribute in the magazine space. I really love seeing other people's magazines and seeing how people have come up with all these beautiful things that I could never think of, and not in a way that's like insecure, but in a way where it's just pure admiration. It's like, wow, I hope I'm part of that collage for someone else. So yeah, inspiration is also other magazines, obviously. I love them. I think they're really charming, and I think it's a really fun and unique community. So join it if you want, and if you have any more questions regarding the matter, I'm always happy to answer via Instagram DM or email. You can on Instagram I'm at loveumoremag, and email it's loveumoremagazine@gmail.com, and the U is just a U. So yeah, until next time.